The following is a Just Green production.
Hello, everyone. It's the week of November 6, 2017. My name is Taylor Cooper, and this might be news to you. What up, everybody? Week 12 Might Be News. Follow us on Twitter at MightBeNews247. That's at MightBeNews247. Follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, listen, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Shout out to Rob Smith. He's the winner of week 2 of our major listener appreciation giveaway. He let us know last week that the title of the episode was Yesterday is Only a Day Away. And that was when I was telling Kev how many cases of Capri Suns I bought and when I bought them. With me as always, my awesome co-host. Say what up, Kev.
Yo, guys.
What up, Danny?
What's up, guys?
We have a very special guest here this week. His name is Kevin Reevy. Say what up, Kevin.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. Kevin is a author. We're going to get into some questions with him. Big time Philadelphia sports fan, and that's what you write about, right?
That's correct. My first book, This Day in Philadelphia Sports, really just talks about Philadelphia sports history on a day-by-day basis. One of those books where, it's not really an insult to have a book in your bathroom. So,
Definitely. It's not.
You pick it up, not something you really read cover to cover, but you might pick up and say, what happened on my birthday,
Right.
A few facts for each day of the calendar. And, that came out a few years ago, and, pretty proud of that. It's still going
awesome.
strong.
That's awesome. It's always a great thing to have a book in the bathroom, in my opinion, actually. And then there's Incredible Baseball Stats. That's another book.
Yeah, that came out last year. It's my first national book. Me and my co-author Ryan Spader, he's just the Rain Man of baseball stats. He's on Twitter at the Ace of Spader.
What's your Twitter handle?
I am 76-pack, kind of a combination basketball fan, and I like to drink beer.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Who doesn't?
little play on words.
Nice.
The baseball book is just we try to take a little bit of the nerdy aspect of sports stats out, and there's a lot of stuff out there where pitch velocity, exit velocity, these kind of things we didn't really get into. We just wanted the cool stuff, dating things back to Babe Ruth, the 1800s, stuff that people look at and just say, oh, that's awesome, that's cool. Not so much of the nerdy stuff where people say, I don't get it. What's that stat mean? We made it kind of easy, whether you're a
Comprehensive.
big baseball analytics guy or, you've been following the game for, your entire life. You're an old man and can't get on board with these stats. We help you get on board with those kind of things.
That's awesome.
So you
There's a
dumbed
lot
it
of
down
stats.
for people like us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was definitely one of those guys going into it. I wasn't really on board with a lot of the stats, and still now, a lot of the things confuse the hell out of me. But regardless of who you are, you can pick up this book and read a bunch of stuff, and we walk you through stuff. If you see a stat you don't understand, we have a glossary at the back of the book. Helps you, figure out what this means. But it's coming from two guys. The one guy really knows what he's talking about with all this stuff. That's Ryan. And me, I'm more into, the storytelling, kind of the basic stats on the back of the baseball card growing up. So the combination of both of us, if there's something I didn't understand, I tried to, put it in terms I would get. And if I understand it, I think most baseball fans that would buy the book would too.
That's awesome. It's very cool. I'm going to have to check it out. You just gave me a copy of This Day in Philadelphia Sports. I'm very excited about it. Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. That's neat.
We're going to get back with Kevin here in a second, but first, we're going to get some good news.
Hey, did you hear the news?
This better be good.
Want the good news or the bad news?
Give me the good stuff.
All right, week 12 with the good news. Danny, what do you got?
All right, I got 3 stories for you guys. The first one is Kimberly Morris of Wake Forest scratched off 2 North Carolina lottery tickets last Monday, winning $1 million on one ticket and $10,000 on another ticket.
What?
Yeah. So this girl's a little lucky.
Kev, how does that make you feel?
That pisses me off because I play all the freaking time.
All right, so Morse thought things were going very well when she bought a ticket at a grocery store Monday afternoon and scratched off a $10,000 prize. She went to lottery headquarters in Raleigh, North Carolina to claim her prize. On the way home, she thought, whatever, I'll stop and buy another ticket. Well, that was a bingo ticket, and it was worth $1 million.
Wow.
So, out of the $1 million, she chose to take the lump sum, only giving her $417,012.
I hope she
Only.
I hope she's a nice person. Right?
Sure, she
Yeah.
sounds like a nice person.
Sounds like a nice lady, right?
I mean, she's pretty lucky, so.
Good karma.
All right, and as a fat guy, I'm going to follow it up with 2 food good news stories.
Wow.
So the first one is the McRib is going to be coming back to McDonald's stores nationwide. And in early December, Hershey's will unleash its first new candy bar in 2 decades. And guess what? It contains 0 chocolate.
What? What is it?
It's called the Hershey's Gold, and it contains caramelized cream studded with peanuts and pretzels. It actually looks the color goldish. Doesn't look like a chocolate bar at all.
It sounds horrible.
But
It sounds delicious.
I mean, I'll try it.
But going back to the McRib, how many people really enjoy meat that's pressed together to look like a rib?
Yo, this is a good news story.
Do you?
If you're gonna trash the McRib, we're gonna have to end this right now.
and you're gonna. My main question is this, because I don't go after the midrib or McRib often, but when you do you get the pickle on it?
Of course.
It's fucking disgusting.
I also get the pickle on the Chick-fil-A chicken
Fucking-
sandwich.
Fucking disgusting.
You're fucking disgusting.
What?
Drink your Pacific Cooler and stop talking about my McRib.
Pacific Cooler is ultimately 1,000,000 times better than a pickle on a McRib.
Well, you can't put a Capri Sun up against a McRib.
I can, and I did.
We're not. No.
It wins.
The Capri Sun, though. Am I the only one who has like a mini heart attack every time I try to open one up? Like I think it's gonna like
Go
puncture
through the other end. Oh, it's the
Tired.
worst. Yeah.
Or
I've
when you
had
break the straw.
I've had like 200,000 Capri Suns in my life, and every time it's so much anxiety.
I
Every
feel like
time I try to.
I feel like
open
I've had 200,000 Capri Suns this week. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to squeeze the bag a little bit to kind of get the hole sticking up, so you can hit it with the straw.
And then
But
it
if you
gets the
squeeze-
pre-squirt.
If you squeeze too hard,
Yeah, you get the pre-squirt.
yeah.
I think the reason is the first time you have a Capri Sun, you're like 4 and you don't know how things work. So you're squeezing it and you put the straw in there, and of course it goes all over the place. You're stuck with that anxiety for the rest of your life whenever you open a Capri Sun.
Or it's like when you poke the hole all the way through it, and then you can't get the air pressure to actually drink it because there's a hole on the other fucking side of the thing. Happens to me at least
I've
once a
never
week.
had that problem.
Really? Put too much mustard on it. You have another good news thing?
No, that was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
All right. Back to Kevin Reevy, because we have a guest, and that's awesome.
And I've never had a McRib, by the way.
Never?
Good.
Yeah.
Well, try it with and without the pickle.
Or a shamrock
Let us know what you
shake.
think.
No,
What? You've never had a shamrock shake?
Neither
Kev,
have I.
You've never had a shamrock
Really?
shake?
Really?
You guys aren't living the best lives you can.
Kev's got to stick together. I mean, you know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Dude, the Shamrock Shake, that's like
It's a staple
it's
in
an
America.
experience.
It is an experience. A magical one at that, Kev. You might
Why
wanna-
is it not called a Shamrock ice cream shake?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Because there's no fucking ice cream in it.
Listen, I don't understand your point.
No, it's disgusting.
When do you
It's
call something an
disgusting.
ice
Whoa,
cream
How
shake?
can you call it disgusting if you've never tried it?
They don't call it a milkshake for a reason.
What?
What's your point?
That it's disgusting. It's fucking foul.
You know,
just like the pressed together meat that is made to look like a rib
Yeah.
on a piece of bun.
I
It's
thought we had
disgusting.
like a breakthrough episode with Kevin.
Yeah,
last
we did.
Week.
I thought last week was a game
We're
changer for
back to zero now.
Yeah, we're back to zero, especially because I didn't listen to the music this week either.
Jesus
you. Oh my
Christ,
god,
Kev.
Kev, are you fucking serious, dude?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
No, you didn't listen last week.
I couldn't find it last week.
He had a legitimate excuse. I want to
And
know
you
what your
guys knew
legitimate
about
excuse is.
Hey, I made the T-shirts.
Wow, you did make really good
no,
t-shirts.
Amy made the
No,
T-shirts.
I made the T-shirts,
Amy
asshole.
made the T-shirts.
Listen, I'm going to need Amy to confirm that.
Yeah. Go ahead and call her.
All right.
right now.
I'm going to stop
We're
talking.
going to make our first live call.
Yeah,
right now.
We're going to make a live call to Amy. We're going to find out. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
No, we're not. You know what? I'm done talking to you. I'm going to talk to the other Kevin that's here.
Go ahead.
All right, Kevin. When did your books come out? You have 2 books here. When did they come out?
All right, so 2014 for This Day in Philadelphia Sports, and last year was Incredible Baseball Stats.
Where can you find them to buy them?
You can get them both on Amazon. I'm sure locally in the Philadelphia area, you could get This Day in Philadelphia Sports and Incredible Baseball Stats, probably still in bookstores in most places. However, my publisher did not distribute it to the extent that I would have liked, but that's another podcast.
Yeah.
I got to be drunker and more honest.
Well, I mean, like this Day in Philadelphia Sports I'm holding here. It's a nice heavy back book, a hardback book. Looks really nice. I was flipping through it. It's very cool. I mean, you can just go through and just look at the calendar of what happened around here.
Yeah,
It looks like a lot of cool information.
I mean, yeah, we're really proud of that. I wrote it with Brian Startari. Local sports fans might remember him from 94 WIP and 97.5 The Fanatic. He's been a staple with sports talk in the area for a little while. And, you know, we just wanted to throw a book out there, the good, the bad, the ugly in Philadelphia sports history, and have a way to access it that's kind of unique. And, we did really well with it. Got a lot of good reviews, and we're really proud of it. It's
That's great.
something we like. I mean, there's so many stats and facts in there that to this day, like, I'll open it up and be like, "Oh, shoot, I didn't even know that," and I wrote it. So,
Right. That's awesome. Still learning new stuff.
yeah.
This is probably going to be the reason why my wife leaves me, because I'm never going to leave the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's been so many people that'll tweet out. I know Glenn Mack now tweeted out a photo of that book on his bathroom, or on his toilet in his bathroom in his man cave.
Oh, that's very cool.
That's a high honor.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's one of those cool things. You always love to hear and see, and
It's going to be on my coffee table, centerpiece.
fantastic. I mean, whether it's on your coffee table or atop, the toilet, it's an honor either way.
Either way, that's cool. Well, I have a couple questions for you because this is official. I mean, this is very cool. You're very into sports, which is awesome because we are too, collectively. Kev, not so much. He only follows one thing, and nobody cares about it, which is the Flyers. But he'll get to that later.
How's it make you feel?
What's your favorite sport, would you say?
I mean, it's got to be baseball. Going back to when that was my first love. I think it's hard not to follow football incredibly closely now. I mean, there's only 16 games a season.
Fantasy plays a big part in that
Yeah,
too. Now you're
it's
following more than just like your favorite team. You're following everyone.
Mm-hmm. And 162 games for a baseball season is a lot to take in. So my co-author Ryan, he's, like I said, Rain Man of baseball stats. He watches every game. It's weird how he'll watch, like, I'll call him up or text him, like, yeah, I'm just watching, Mariners Royals. Just why?
People in those cities aren't even watching those games, right?
So it's just, and he loves it. It's
different strokes for different. I mean, like it's funny. I follow football probably the most, I would say, but just over the past couple of years, I've been following college football to a major point. Baseball, I kind of dropped off just as soon as like the Phillies kind of started going downhill. I was just kind of like, well, I'll just kind of pick it up when they pick it up a little bit. Because like you said, so many games, it just gets really long and drawn out, especially when you suck.
Yeah, I think one of the things baseball will always have going for it is that it owns a season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the summer locked up, no competition, and it's just it's always going to be around. People are going to take their family to go to a game. So, and that to that extent, it's got a good thing going for it. As far as people watching on television, those numbers might drop off in time. It is a slow-paced game. That's one thing they have to work on. So we'll see how that develops as time goes on. But I said, it owns certain things that no one can take away from it. It's
Right.
not like the NBA is going to start playing games in the summertime and really infringe on, July and August, like the real meat of what
That's
baseball has
time.
going.
Right. Well, that brings me on to the next question. Like, what's your favorite thing about baseball? Like, is it the home runs, or would you rather see a good pitching matchup? Like, for example, I mean, this World Series, this postseason, they're talking about record amounts of home runs, multiple game or lead changes, longer games. One of those games in the World Series wasn't over until like 2 a.m. our time, right?
Yeah,
Was
it was
it
like
game
a
5 or
5-hour
something?
game or something like that.
Unbelievable. What do you think about that?
It's a weird thing because like baseball kind of goes through different waves. And right now, I think we're coming out of a big pitching boom, and it's starting to gear more towards offense, but really oddly more focused on home runs. A record amount of home runs hit this year alone, let alone, in the postseason in the World Series. So when I was a kid, I remembered, offense was booming. 1998, I was probably 15 when, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa went off. And I enjoyed that, but I remembered being a little annoyed that like the best pitchers in baseball would have an ERA over 4. There's so much scoring. And I wanted a return. I mean, I didn't really know better at the time, but I'm looking back at the stats in baseball history. I wanted to see dominant pitching. And that had its time. And then it kind of went back. And right now we're seeing, I don't know if it's going to return to a more offensive game or if it's just this weird home run thing going on right now. But I think they're always trying to find a good middle ground. I don't know if they're going to get there. I think it's getting close. It was getting boring for a while when the pitching was dominating Clayton Kershaw with, ERAs below 2. Nobody wants to see a 2-1 game.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about, how exciting the World Series was. Why? Because the scoring was up.
Do you think they changed the balls? There's a conspiracy theory. Oh, I don't even know if it's a conspiracy theory.
Seriously?
Well, they said something about the balls were slick. What was it? The sinker pitches couldn't get a strikeout. Like Kershaw was having issues. That Darvish guy was having issues. There's a couple of them throughout the postseason that said they couldn't grip the ball correctly. Did you hear something about that?
They go through like hundreds of balls per game. Don't you think they'd realize something and say something in the middle of the game?
I don't know.
I think it's a subtle thing. But I totally believe these guys that say, Justin Verlander's saying, I've been throwing a baseball since I was 8 years old. I can tell the difference. So I absolutely believe there's something to it. Now, whether it was intentional or not, I doubt it. You look at the Nike jerseys the NBA players are wearing this year, getting torn left and right. You would think you could foresee these kind of things, but it could have just been one slight difference in how they manufacture the ball to make this huge difference on the field. And that doesn't mean anyone saw it coming.
Right.
So,
I mean, if people who are engineering and making these baseballs, and they know that how they're making the baseball would make it more explosive off the bat to create more home runs would probably equal more ratings, right? I would think. More people were turned into this World Series, which obviously LA is a major market. Houston probably not so much, maybe middle of the road, right? Chicago is a big market. They were in the postseason. Who else was in the postseason this year? The Yankees didn't make it that far.
Yeah.
They're a big market, but like nobody even expected them to go there. So like my question, I guess, kind of is like, maybe not necessarily for you, but just in general, do you guys think that they did something crazy to the baseballs to make the postseason better this year? Because it wasn't just record numbers of home runs in the World Series; it was throughout the postseason, right?
yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Well, it could also be the way that they're preparing the balls. I actually watched a special where they go through hundreds of balls, a baseball game, but before every game, somebody sits down with all those baseballs and they personally mud them up. They have special mud that they use and rub and get the balls so they are kind of dry and tacky.
They have those like little powder packs that they have, some of these pitchers, right? Like,
Well, they use that to control like the sweat on their hands and that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But before every game, every ball is taken out of the wrapper and it's rubbed down with a special mud.
Artificial mud, just like these jeans these kids are wearing now.
There was actually, well, probably. There was actually a special on Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe. He went to the farm that produces that mud,
Oh wow.
and they showed like before every game they have to have somebody go through and open up a brand new case of balls and rub down every ball. So I'm gonna
That's
blame
a
it on
dirty
the,
job.
I'm gonna blame it on the ball boy for
The ball
for
rubbers,
lacking.
the guys rubbing balls.
The guys rubbing the fluffers aren't doing their job.
Yeah, that's what I don't get because, I mean, typically this doesn't come up, but the last I had heard of any of this kind of thing was Colorado, which uses a humidifier, dehumidifier, one of those two. I don't know what they put their baseballs. I don't know if they still do. Last I heard, they were doing something to try to take away the home field advantage in Coors Field, so the balls wouldn't be as explosive. That's the last I heard. I don't know if since they've adopted this rule where you can't doctor the baseball in any way before the game, but the last I heard, yeah, before the game, you do some stuff with the baseball. So that's why it's a little weird why this would be such a big deal. I'm sure there's a reason, but I mean, off the top of my head, I don't really understand it.
Either way, it made the postseason entertaining. I mean, there was a lot of scoring happening, and I mean, great offense in baseball is fun to watch. But I'm with you. I like good pitching. I mean, like when I was growing up, it was Tom Glavine, and you know the Braves were killing it with pitchers.
Randy Johnson,
Nolan
Schilling.
Ryan, even before that, and you know then you get to Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee and Cole Hamels and all that stuff. And it's fun to watch, but it's also fun to just watch somebody ding it right out of the park too. You know, just that unexpected, just like crack, just boom, it's gone.
Yeah, that's why the Phillies were so great in 2011. They had the greatest starting rotation of all time, and they had power at almost every position.
Yeah.
So if you were a fan of the Phillies, you got the best of all worlds.
Yeah. It's good times back then. I can't wait for something like it to happen again.
So you briefly touched base on it. As a baseball fan, what were your thoughts on this year's World Series?
I mean, growing up, it's weird because I'm a Phillies fan since, 93. I was 10 years old when the Phillies went to the World Series. But I've oddly been an Astros fan, too. My three favorite players of all time were Jeff Bagwell, Nolan Ryan, Craig Biggio. I don't know why. I've always been a huge Nolan Ryan fan, which is weird. Like,
He's a legend.
If I could go back in time, it would be weird to see how that happened. I was probably at my dad's house watching a game, and he probably said, "Nolan Ryan, good pitcher," and I'm probably sitting on the couch being like, "I want to be just like my dad." You know what? He is a good pitcher.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
my favorite pitcher, and that's probably how it happened. A dumb thing like that, but. Always been a huge Nolan Ryan fan, and then Jeff Bagwell, just the way his batting stance, that huge crouch. Everybody should look it up right now. It's ridiculous.
It was pretty bad.
Just in Little League when I was a kid, I would try to copy that stance, and it totally destroyed me. I had no chance to hit the damn baseball. And then, Craig Biggio was pretty much, he epitomized everything you want to be with a baseball player. Just, the hard-nosed, real Chase Utley type. So for whatever reason, those were my three favorite players. So I followed the Astros just as much. So this was a great postseason for me. I hate the Yankees, so it was good to see them, knock the Yankees off. And it worked out well. I mean, it was a great World Series. The record number of home runs, the extra inning games. Unfortunately, being an adult and having a job that starts early in the morning, you can't watch all these games. But
Yeah.
from what I watched and what I looked over, it reminds me of the 2001 World Series, the Yankees Diamondbacks. That was amazing. So I think there's kind of parallels there. Maybe not a great Game 7, but overall,
Game 7 was a letdown.
Wasn't
Right.
as good as what was it, Game 5 that
Yeah.
had a lead change 5 or 6 times maybe.
Yeah.
But for me, watching the Eagles game today, I love a blowout. So the blowout was awesome. I'm rooting Astros. I loved Game 7, but I
Sure.
can see, looking back on it, you would want that piece to the puzzle to say that, this is a great overall a great series. You didn't really have that Game 7 to fit that final piece in, but overall it was great.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, so you like a blowout, but how do you feel about hockey and the NHL? And no, come on now. How do you feel about hockey and the NHL through the regular season, finishing when a game goes to a shootout and them deciding a game on a shootout? I mean, what? I think that is absolutely ridiculous.
Wait
They
a
need
minute.
to.
You want to bring ties back?
No, you play sudden death as many periods as you need to finish that game.
So
I'm fully against a shootout.
you're against the shootout.
Against a shootout.
Are you against the shootout, Kevin?
Yeah, actually, I mean, to the extent I can talk about hockey, I do say a lot that my fourth favorite sport is Survivor on CBS. It's a sport. I don't care what people say. It's a sport, and I'll say that to the
And
day
you
I
take that
die.
over hockey? So what
Yes.
do you do?
So
Baseball,
Survivor-
football, basketball, Survivor?
Oh, great.
Golf might also slide.
Get
right
out
in.
of here.
But I mean,
Come on.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I follow all these sports, so I can say that the shootout's dumb, and I don't think people are as against ties as they say. It sounds like something that shouldn't be in sports, but it's okay to have a tie. People would rather watch a tie and have the game be over, go to their cars and go home, than leave with a game not over or leave at 2:00 in the morning upset that it's 2:00 in the morning.
Okay.
Like, it's ridiculous. So you can't have I don't think you can do a sudden death until it's over thing, because then you end up with
In hockey, that'd be tough.
was that Keith Primo the game or am I
Until
thinking
like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember who scored it, but yes, I remember that.
I think it
game.
might have been him. But anyway, I mean, I was a kid then, and I had school the next day, and like even I called it quits at 2 a.m. Like, who watched that game? Everyone who says they watched that game, they're full of shit. Nobody watched that game.
See, I don't know. I might have to disagree with you there on the whole tie thing. I feel like sports, it just shouldn't happen. You're in a league that you're trying to be the best of the best, and I just feel like in the end, I mean, especially with football. I mean, for example, 16 games, every one of them counts, right? Just it makes it so much more crazy. Hockey, soccer, I don't know. I don't watch soccer because to me, I feel like every other game's a stupid tie. And that game's stupid in general anyway with the clock. It just drives me nuts. But anyway,
Clock stops and they're still playing.
it doesn't stop though. It just
The
keeps
clock
moving.
never
It's
stops.
just dumb. Stoppage is what they call it. It's called stoppage. It just sounds like something out of Harry Potter, and I don't like it. But anyway, I have another question for you. So you said your favorite sport is baseball. Just to jump into football a little bit with you. My favorite football player of all time is Peyton Manning by a landslide. Peyton Manning. Man crush every day. And I wanted to know, because you're a big sports guy, you write books and stuff, and it's very important.
No, he cannot get you his phone number.
No, I want to know how you feel about Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. And don't be afraid. I would just like to point out that Peyton Manning has won 5 MVPs, and no one else has.
Okay. It's interesting you bring this up. I was just talking about this today, about how I drafted the year the Broncos went to the Super Bowl. You'll be able to put this together as I say it. I drafted Peyton Manning number 1 overall
Wow.
that year
Risky move.
in fantasy.
Risky.
And, if people aren't paying attention, well, you picked a guy that went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
No, I picked a guy that ended up, he threw like 9 touchdowns that year.
Yeah, total. And
Yeah.
like 9 interceptions in his
screwed
first
me
like
over.
3 games.
He threw like 49 the year before, whatever it was. So I'm a little pissed off at Peyton Manning right now. I had a great year. Somehow I had a great year with Peyton Manning at quarterback having an abysmal year. But I can put that aside. And as an Eagles fan, I should hate the Patriots, hate Tom Brady. But I hate the Giants so much more. And those 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots, I couldn't have cheered more for the Patriots. and the fact that the Giants won both those games,
Yeah.
there's some sort of connection with me and the Patriots. Like it doesn't matter that they beat the Eagles in 2004.
Yeah.
I hate the Giants so much. So I'm on board with Tom Brady.
Oh,
and
geez.
I like Boston. I love Boston. I mean, Wade Boggs, big Boston guy. He wrote the foreword for my baseball book. I also have that connection with Boston. My favorite show of all time is Cheers, obviously set in Boston. So, I mean, it's not even close. It's Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, and Peyton Manning.
Wow.
That's how, I think everybody would agree with that, though, right?
You're not going to put Drew Brees
Almost
up there?
everybody. Almost everybody.
I'll put Drew Brees up there too.
Yeah, now that we're naming, it might be tough to squeeze Peyton into the top 5 if we start naming names.
Top 5.
Speaking of 5, we got to bring up Donovan McNabb, too. He could run the ball, so
no. Peyton Manning is you can't even say Donovan in the same.
Well, but the weird thing is,
14 Pro Bowls, Peyton Manning.
before Rodgers went down, it was really trendy. I was hearing a lot of people say, he might be the greatest of all time. And I think people are just trying to squeeze in some sort of argument where, personally, I think Tom Brady ended the argument. You could still kind of bring in Peyton Manning. I don't see how you bring in Aaron Rodgers into this, but
I don't either, really.
before he was hurt, that was the trendy talk. Aaron Rodgers, greatest of all time? I don't know. So,
Tom Brady gets it from you for the Super Bowls, the amount of Super Bowls.
that does it. I mean, if he was if you talk about Eli Manning had 2, clearly doesn't have the stats worthy of a Hall of Famer. If he gets into the Hall of Fame, it's for those 2 Super Bowls. So I don't put everything on that. I think it's got to be a combination of the 2. So because he's got all the Super Bowls and the stats to back it up, those 2 things kind of go hand in hand. Stat for stat, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it if he's right there with Peyton Manning. I know last I looked, I think top 5, touchdown pass seasons of all time. Peyton owns at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, Peyton owns a lot of records. Tom Brady just broke one for like the most total wins or something, which kind of seals the deal for me. Kind of, I don't know, but I still can't give it to Brady. Can't do it.
But here's a fun fact, to go along with the whole incredible baseball stats thing, but on a football basis. Donovan McNabb is actually the first quarterback in history to throw for over 30 touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions in one season.
Really?
The craziest thing about that is that he did it first, but then the floodgates opened. Like the next year, 3 guys did it. Year after that, like 5. Now it's a pretty common occurrence for guys to do it every year. But I think that year he did it in 2004, the league really switched.
Yeah.
It became a real pass-heavy league. But he owns the distinction of doing it first, which you wouldn't think, but there you go.
I remember growing up because Peyton was in the league forever, and for me it was Peyton over everything. I mean, I was an Eagles fan, but there was just something about Peyton Manning and the way that he dissected defenses. I mean, the guy went out there and everything was an audible. He was, to my knowledge, one of the first players that the offensive coordinator said, hey, here's 3 plays. 2 running plays and a passing play or whatever. Here's 3 plays. You go out there and do whatever you want to do. I get my salary, but you go ahead and go out there and do my job a little bit better than me. All right? And then you get to the Sunday night games and the Monday night games. It's Peyton Manning. It's not the Colts versus whoever. It's Peyton Manning versus Ray Lewis, or it's Peyton Manning versus Brian Urlacher, or it's Peyton Manning against whoever. And I mean, to me, it was just the guy. He revolutionized the sport in my opinion, just from what I know of. And I mean, Brady, I can't take anything away from Brady, but I just can't fucking do it.
How many Super Bowls does Brady have?
Too many, Kev.
How many
He's
does
cheating
Peyton,
ass.
How many does Peyton Manning have?
2. He's been to 4.
Okay.
Nobody has more MVPs. All right, let me just tell you something. One more thing before we move on.
Go ahead.
Football is known as the greatest team sport ever, correct? Ever? Right? Yeah. Kev, would you agree with me?
No, but go ahead.
I don't care what your opinion is. Greatest team sport ever. And to win a Super Bowl, you do that as a team. Peyton Manning, for example, with his last year with the Broncos, Peyton Manning did not win that Super Bowl, not even close. What Peyton Manning didn't do, though, is lose that Super Bowl. The team thing. The defense won that Super Bowl. Von Miller deserved the MVP. If they would have given it to Peyton Manning, I would have been outraged. And I'm the biggest Peyton Manning fan you'll ever meet. Team sport. So if you got 5 MVPs and the next guy only has 2, to me, GOAT. All right.
But you said it was a team sport. An MVP is most valuable player.
Most valuable player.
One person.
GOAT.
Team sport.
Team sport. Teams
Now-
teams win Super Bowls.
If we're talking about
MVP is an individual accolade.
are we talking about Peyton Manning, Super Bowl Peyton Manning, or primetime Peyton Manning?
I feel like every year minus his last year was prime time. Greatest quarterback ever. I don't know. That's just me. I have his rookie card over there. It's crazy. Anyway, have you met any athletes? Like, do you have like a favorite experience, like meeting an athlete, something that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, the best athlete. I think the best athletes I've met, all walks of, mostly baseball players. The best ones are the ones that maybe didn't have the greatest or most heralded playing career. I think they're the most down to earth. I know Ricky Bottalico, great dude. He had a very respectful playing career, but I mean, when he was done playing, he went back to work. He had to work his way up in the broadcast booth, and he literally worked his way up from the minor league. So he's the kind of guy you could have a beer with, you could talk to, always hustling, always working his way up the ranks. And let's see, me and Ryan, I think we closed the bar in Philly and then some with this guy, Jeff Blum. He's the color analyst for the Astros when they were in town. Greatest guy in the world. He was a utility player, not a starter for much of his career. Same kind of mold. The guy is just salt of the earth, awesome dude. Stories for days. Those are the kind of guys you want to hang out with, have a beer with. A lot of times, we were down at the Hall of Fame. My co-author Ryan, he forgot to check the +1 on the Hall of Fame dinner. So guess who didn't get to go?
Oh man, that sucks.
And talk shop with all the Hall of Famers.
Wow.
Yeah, me, I got the shaft, but it's all right. I got the stories after the fact, and it's cool. I mean, everybody's their own personality, but Ricky Henderson's not going to be like Jeff Blum and Ricky Bottalico. Doesn't mean there's not going to be a cool story. So, he's telling me, he goes up to Ricky Henderson and, says, "Yo, Ricky, did you know that you did this?" Like, he starts ringing off all these stats. That's what Ryan does. He knows off the top of his head these crazy Ricky Henderson stats, just goes on and on and on. So Ricky looks at him and says, Ricky knows that. Ricky knows all Ricky stats. And that's what you expect Ricky Henderson to say. Like, he's the guy who talks about himself in the first person. Like, so you're going to get a different experience with each person. Sometimes it's not always going to be good. You hear stories about Mike Schmidt kind of, burning people all the time and not being very cordial. But, I mean, it comes with the territory. I firmly believe if you're too famous, regardless of what you do, an athlete, a movie star, whatever it is, you can't function in normal society.
Yeah.
So I always like the guys that you could have a beer with that didn't make, $100 million during their career. They're just a regular dude.
I have one more question for you, and then we're going to take a little break. But do you have a favorite athlete? Doesn't matter, cross sports, whatever, any sport. Do you have like a favorite? You mentioned Nolan Ryan. Do you have an all-time favorite athlete?
Yeah, I mean, it's Nolan Ryan, really. That guy was insane. What he did beyond the age of 40 was crazy. I mean, guys that really good players, all-star players, take their best season, and it wouldn't be as good as like 2, 3, 4 seasons Nolan Ryan had just after the age of 40.
Wow.
I mean, it's just insane what this guy was doing. He was leading the league in strikeouts. Like, right now guys just don't pitch into their 40s.
Right.
And they were doing it a little bit. Roger Clemens was a big name at the time, dominating. But, we hear after the fact, PEDs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan, for all we know, was just a natural dude throwing gas over 95 miles an hour almost till the age of 50. And that's incredible. It's mind-blowing. And he did it for so long. He pitched how many decades? 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 decades he pitched professionally in the major leagues. Started out in 1966, retired in 1993. He wasn't done. Just nobody was calling him up. He was ready to play, but he was just, everybody figured he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I remember he was, throwing heaters for commercials for insurance companies, and I'm like, yeah, that guy can still play. I'm telling you, sign this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the best. You got to love those power pitchers. And, he beat the crap out of Robin Ventura that one time. You got to love that. I got that framed on my wall at home. That was a good moment because people talk smack sometimes. A pitcher can throw inside and bean guys, but do they back it up?
Right.
They're not out there playing every day. They're the ones with the baseball in their hand. They could hit a guy whenever they want, but when it comes down to to throw down, where are they? Well, that one time, Nolan Ryan, 40-something years old, beat the crap out of a 20-something Robin Ventura. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
That's probably actually what made me a fan, now that I think about it. I was probably watching TV saying, who's that dude? That sounds pretty cool. It looks like a superhero to me.
So we know who your favorite player of all time is.
Yes.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Kev, how about you?
Eric Lindros. Period.
Wow. Danny?
I'm going to have to go with Brian Dawkins.
Okay.
I mean, being a diehard Eagles fan that I am, seeing the heart that Brian Dawkins has for the game, seeing his pregame rituals and how he gets the team pumped up and the way he carried himself on and off the field. He was off the field, he was Brian Dawkins. On the field, he was Weapon X. See him be able to transform like that into just another human being and what he did for this Eagles team. Hands down, he's the guy that I think about when I think of Philly sports.
Yeah. It's a good one. Well, we're going to take a break here real quick, and before I do that, here's some new music. Sam Smith released a new album, The Thrill of It All. 21 Savage, Offset, and Metro Boomin dropped a surprise album Without Warning. It's all right. Maroon 5 dropped a new album, Red Pill Blues. Joji came out with a new album called In Tongues. Chris Brown dropped a 2.5-hour album.
2.5 hours.
I listened to it.
You got time for that?
I did.
How was it?
It was good. It was good.
Good. What would you rate it?
2.5 hours later, I'd say 8.
Wow. Really? Wow.
Listen.
It's good. It was an 8.
45 songs. No skits, no interludes. First 10 tracks were más o menos. That means okay in Spanish. It was okay. I don't know. And then from like track 20 on, I really enjoyed it. There's a couple, I'm not a huge Chris Brown fan, but I enjoyed it. And he put a challenge out there. Here's 2.5 hours of my music. Go listen to it if you want. Kev, you would have lasted 5 seconds.
Yup.
5 seconds.
That is a challenge.
Kevin Reevey, thank you so much for being here with us, man.
Thanks, guys.
I really appreciate it. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back with What's the Point and a late review of Rage Against the Machine's Evil Empire. Isn't that right?
Yes.
I listened to the right thing?
Yes.
Kev didn't listen to anything?
Asshole.
Great job, Kev. You might as well just, I don't know.
I'm quitting the show.
Wow, Kev. It's about time. All right, we'll be right back with more Might Be News. Welcome back to Might Be News. I'm your host, Taylor Cooper. With me is my co-hosts, Kev and Danny. Say what up, guys.
What's up?
What's up?
We just had a very special guest, Kevin Reevy, on our show. Shout out to Kevin Reevy. Shout out to CJ Schumart for putting us in contact with Kevin Reevy. That was very awesome. We had an author on our show this week, guys.
This is pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. We got books.
We got a signed book. I'm so excited to read this.
Yeah, it's very neat.
So excited.
All right, so we did the guest interview, which was highly successful, in my opinion. But now we're gonna try and speed through. What's the point? Here we go. What's the point?
Is there a point to this?
What is your point?
Are you just gonna sit there and look stupid?
Kev, what's your point?
You guys suck.
You don't want to go first?
No. So I went to Chuck E. Cheese today. My son Cole, he had a birthday there. And Buddha, you've been to Chuck E. Cheese before.
Yes.
Danny,
Yep.
you round one in Exton.
Yeah, we were just there today.
That's, dude.
Spent a lot of money on broke equipment, though.
Yeah. Right? Oh,
So
dude, that
round
stinks.
one is bad.
Yeah, that stinks. Dude, I've been there a couple times, but all you have to do is go up and you say that you swiped money for that card, and they refund it immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty good. But have you ever gone into those places and you just on the way out you feel like a germ, like
It's just gross.
Hold
Everything
up.
you touch
Hold
is
up.
disgusting.
Yo, so, I mean, as people who know me know that my wife is 2 weeks away from giving birth. And, you know, we're real big into making sure everything's clean right now.
Yeah.
Right? So we heard there's a stomach virus going around. So as soon as we left there, we drank grape juice. With the complete thought that, hey, this was going to try and keep us safe. So, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, it was disgusting. Well, first of all, they got in Chuck E. Cheese today. Felt like it was 90 degrees in there, and dude, it just like I'm in an incubator of children's filth everywhere.
Wow.
Think about the ball pits, dude.
Oh,
How much germs are, because they're not going to go in there and clean every single ball every
absolutely
night.
not.
It's gross.
It is disgusting. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Danny, what's your point this week?
All right, so
Lightning round. Kev.
I know you don't like to keep things local. You know, we want to try to be worldwide. But we got to talk about the best team in the NFL right now, and that is our Philadelphia motherfucking Eagles.
8-1.
8-1.
Best record in the NFL. Carson Wentz has more touchdowns than any quarterback in the NFL.
Correct. We just got Jay Ajayi on Tuesday at the deadline for the trades. So we picked him up Tuesday, flew him down here. He started studying the playbook right away. Only 3 or 4 days of actual practice. And he came in today, and he had over 80 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
His first touchdown of the year.
On the first play from scrimmage as an Eagle.
No, he had a few before that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was his first touchdown all year.
Right.
With the Miami Dolphins,
Right.
they did nothing for him.
He had a good year last year, right?
He had a great year.
He's a good pickup.
Top 5 running back in the NFL.
Good pickup.
And he came in and we put up 51 points on the best defense in the NFL.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
51 points. I'm tired of hearing about Denver's defense. Give our birds some credit.
Yeah.
We're due.
Oh, yeah.
We deserve it. We've earned it.
Carson Wentz is a great leader, and I think he's showing that every single week. I mean, true MVP candidate.
Absolutely, 100%.
He's got that whole team behind him, and you can just see it. It's not a coach thing. It's nothing against the coach, but I'm just telling you, Carson Wentz is a natural-born leader, and you can see it every play, every game.
Dude, you can't even count how many times, I can't even count how many times I've been listening to the radio and they're talking about plays that Carson Wentz has done. And you just hear him say, oh, that's something a veteran quarterback would do.
Yeah. He has progressed so much from his rookie year to this year. He's playing like they say, like a veteran quarterback. He's able to stay in the pocket when the pocket's collapsing around him and make a good decision. There were a few plays last week where he literally was gobbled up and you couldn't see him. He was in a pile and he just somehow comes out of that pile and is still running. And he looks to the side, he sees where the first down marker is, and he gets to the first down. He is the best quarterback on third down conversions, and he's just playing an MVP caliber year.
It's incredible. It's incredible to watch.
We deserve this as Eagles fans.
Yeah.
We've been through a lot. We deserve this.
Very good points by both of you. One better than the other, but just saying, Kevin's good.
Well,
dude.
Before we say that, let's hear
Wow, dude.
let's hear your point before we go ahead and say that.
Well, my point is definitely a lot more depressing. And I don't know. I feel like in season one of the episodes, Kev, you might remember this, I made a very big deal about the Bill O'Reilly scandal. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I feel like I wouldn't be doing myself, I feel like I have to bring up this Harvey Weinstein thing. We talked about it a little bit last week. Kevin Spacey is now in the news for basically being a sexual predator. Now, I read an article on USA Today. They have a complete list of the 78 accusers of Harvey Weinstein.
Yo, he's a slime ball.
78. And they again, this is USA Today. They have case-by-case accounts of what exactly they're accusing him of, the situations that they were in, and what he did to them. And some of these things that I read, and these women are all ranging in different things. A lot of them were actresses or trying to be. There's a lot of very famous people on this list. Angelina Jolie is one of them. A lot of very famous women. And then you get Kevin Spacey, which he's being accused by a bunch of guys of sexual misconduct. And more people are coming out. More and more people are coming out about it to the point of, Kevin Spacey is on a show on Netflix, that House of Cards thing, highly successful. It's very successful. People really like it. I haven't watched it, but everybody tells me I need to. And now Netflix is just like dropping him completely. Like his publicist is gone. His agent dropped him. Everybody's just distancing themselves away from Kevin Spacey. And my thing with it is like, I don't really know Harvey Weinstein. He's a producer. He runs the Weinstein Company, Weinstein Group, whatever. And they put out a lot of really good movies. They work with Miramax. They work with a whole bunch of other people. So most of my favorite director, Quentin Tarantino, he works for Harvey Weinstein. And he's also come out, I think I mentioned this last week, and said that he knew about the things that Harvey Weinstein were doing. Back to Kevin Spacey a little bit. They are pulling the plug on his House of Cards thing because crew members, people who work on the show, have come out and said that Kevin Spacey just comes up to them and grabs their dick.
They also,
Are you kidding me?
No.
They also
Are
said
you
that
serious?
I'm straight up.
Oh my god.
they also said he is horrible to work with,
Horrible.
and he creates a very unhappy work environment.
Yeah.
You were talking about this before the show. I didn't know you were being serious.
No, that's a real thing. He just comes up to people and just like just grabs them. Puts his hand down his pants. It's nuts. What would you do, Kev?
If I was walking at my
was-
place of employment,
Yeah.
and not my boss necessarily, but someone who is much higher up than me comes up to me and sticks their hands down my pants, oh my god.
How crazy is that, right? So
I wouldn't know what to do.
I wouldn't know what to do either. I'd be completely lost.
You
I'd be
don't make
completely
eye
confused.
contact because that makes it weird.
Well, especially like if you respect this person.
Oh
I mean, just think about it. If you respect this person, Kevin Spacey. I don't know anything about Kevin Spacey. I don't know Kevin Spacey, but I know that I love American Beauty. It's a great movie. And he was great in that movie. And from watching that, I'm just like, well, another one, The Usual Suspects. Spoiler alert. Guy is Kaiser Sose. Right?
Never seen it.
What? Really?
Really?
God, you got to. It's a great gangster movie. Anyway, surprise ending that I just ruined for you. It's a very good movie. And he's great in it. And I'm just like, Kevin Spacey can't do anything wrong. The guy's great. And then this week, I find out that he's groping dudes.
Wow.
I think that
For decades, he's been doing this.
I think Hollywood's going to crash, dude.
I
I
think
think there's a lot more that's going to come out of this, and it's going to take a whole bunch of people down. Like you were saying, people knew about it, but nobody spoke up.
Right. And I don't understand that part, because it's like I was watching an interview today with the Hollywood Reporter, and they had Judd Apatow on there and Seth Rogen, and they were talking about a bunch of other things, but then this Harvey Weinstein thing came up, and I guess this interview was done, a couple weeks ago, so they weren't talking at all about Kevin Spacey, but they were talking about this Harvey Weinstein thing, and Seth Rogen's just like, I met Harvey Weinstein like 10 years ago, and I had heard stories about him, and I just knew that he wasn't a good guy, so I swore that I wasn't going to work with him again, and he hasn't. But Seth Rogen also understands the fact that not everybody in Hollywood has the same opportunity that he does. Seth Rogen can direct his own movies. Seth Rogen can produce his own movies. Seth Rogen can direct, produce, and star in his own movies if he wants to. So he doesn't have to go through the Weinstein Company or whatever. But somebody like Quentin Tarantino, when they're first starting out, trying to make Reservoir Dogs, doesn't have money to put together, and Harvey Weinstein comes through just grabbing women by their pussies and says, hey, I'll make a movie for you. It's no problem. Here's money. Here's money. Here's money. What do you say to that? Even if you know that the guy is a bad guy, like, where's your moral compass? What does your moral compass tell you to do? And I've lost a lot of respect for Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino, like I said, he's my favorite director of all time. Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown, the Kill Bills, all that stuff. They were all great, but I can't think about him the same way, knowing that he knew that this guy was out here raping and molesting almost 80 women.
It's crazy.
So he actually admitted to knowing.
Yes. Quentin Tarantino admitted to knowing, yes.
Wow.
I mean, since all this has come out, Harvey Weinstein is no longer with the Weinstein Company. I believe Jay-Z's actually trying to buy his share. So things are happening with that. He's being removed from that. I think I saw something earlier that said that the NYPD is putting a case together. So hopefully they can get this guy behind bars, because he hasn't even been arrested.
Yeah, apparently they have a legitimate case that they're working on, which would issue an arrest warrant for him.
So, I mean, I know we've had a great episode and it's been kind of lighthearted, but like I said, I didn't feel like I could go in on Bill O'Reilly like I did and not mention these guys. I feel like there's some sort of a Hollywood counterculture or cult thing happening where these guys just think that they can do whatever they want. They go to these parties. They don't have to be straight anymore. They don't have to be that family man that everyone thinks they are. They can just go to these parties where anything goes. And, I mean, I don't know. But why? Then I asked myself, well, why isn't this a bigger deal? Like, why aren't people getting locked up? And the only answer that I can come up with is that all of these people are rich and famous, rich and powerful, and I doubt very, very much that it's just Hollywood elite at these parties. There's got to be lawmakers there. There's got to be judges there. There's got to be police commissioners there. There's got to be some sort of, maybe even a religious figure involved. It's just too big to me to be just an isolated thing where it's just Harvey Weinstein. There's got to be bigger things involved. That's just my opinion, and that's my point for this week, is that it's absolutely a crazy and heartbreaking story that seems to be just continuing to unfold. More and more people are coming out talking about it. It's wild.
Way to bring down the mood.
Well, we got to talk about some real things from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Big boy stuff.
Good point, Buddha.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good.
All right, so this week we're doing a late review of Rage Against the Machine's Evil Empire. I'm just going to skip the intro.
All right.
Because we're running out of time. Kev, you did not listen.
Didn't listen.
Well, just to share some information with you.
You
this
missed
is the album that Bulls on Parade is from.
It's fine.
So why didn't you listen?
I didn't listen.
Imagine that you
Didn't want to?
No, not that I didn't want to. I just didn't find the time to.
You had a whole week.
imagine that you listened to
You
it.
look so disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
But I don't care about you.
Well, listen, just for the sake of the show. All right, we should have done this last week with Danny. Imagine that you listened to it.
Okay.
Numerically.
No, I know some of the songs off the album, and I do enjoy Rage Against the Machine and some of these songs, but my type of music, yes, it's something to get me pumped up, but will I listen to it every day? No. So off of the songs that I know off of the album, I'd probably give it like a 5, 6.
Okay. Danny, what did you think about Rage Against the Machine's Evil Empire?
Well, this was my pick this week. I love Rage. Love Rage with a passion. That comes back from my days playing football. This was the type of band that I would listen to get pumped up for the song. People of the Sun, Bulls on Parade, Revolver, Tie Me, Down Rodeo, Without a Face. They're all incredible songs. This is the type of music that I can listen to all the time. I was listening to this going to and from work, and Bulls on Parade wanted me to drive my car just 90 miles an hour down the bypass, just
Through your work.
being reckless. So that type of music, it gets me going. I give it a solid 9. Solid 9.
It's good. I agree very much with you. This album came out in 1996. I was hooked on it from the very first song, People of the Sun, then Bulls on Parade. Snake Charmer might be my undercover favorite Rage song ever. Tire Me is incredible. Down Rodeo is awesome. Without a Face, Wind Below, Roll Right. I mean, it's altogether a classic album. I got to give it a 10.
Yes.
10. I got to give it a 10.
Instant classic.
Instant classic.
Yeah, it's good. It's that good.
Instant classic. And there's no one else that sounds like Rage Against the Machine. Still to this day, people can try. I mean, even Prophets of Rage. I mean, obviously it's the same band minus the lead singer. But even still, to me, it doesn't have the same vibe. It doesn't have the same grittiness. It doesn't have the same sense of urgency. Rage Against the Machine, to me, has a sense of urgency where it's like, this music is important. You might not understand why, but this music is important. That's how I feel about Rage.
I like it.
Kev, what do you got for this week in history?
This week in history. I do have some stuff, but the website that I use to look this up chose not to work for me.
Wow.
But I got some stuff. November 5th, 1994, at age 45, George Foreman became the oldest heavyweight champion to knock out Michael Moore in the 10th round. 2011, November 5th, Jerry Sandusky was arrested on charges of 40 counts of sexual abuse over 15 years. November 8th, 2016, Donald Trump was elected to president. November 9th, 1998, brokerage houses are ordered to pay back $1.3 billion to NASDAQ and investors to compensate for price fixing and the largest civil suit in U.S. history. That's what I got.
Very cool.
Brought up boxing. It was a pretty good UFC event on last night.
Did GSP win?
St. Pierre won.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Missed it. Thanks, Scott.
It was awesome. It was an awesome. All 5 main events. Well, not all 5 fights on the main card. Great fights. It was one of the best cards I've seen in a while.
Cool.
Real quick before we get out of here, follow us on Twitter at MightBeNews247. That's MightBeNews247. Check us out. Look at the episode. Tell me what the title is, and maybe you'll win a T-shirt. Shout out to Kevin Reevy, author of Incredible Baseball Stats and This Day in Philadelphia Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at 76pack. That's at 76pack.
PACK.
PACK. Special shout out to CJ Schumart for bringing him in. Also, CJ got us on iTunes. That's who helped us out with that a few weeks ago. Shout out to Craig.
Shout out.
Great show tonight, guys. Kev, say peace out.
See you.
Peace out, Danny.
Peace out.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Again, shout out to Kevin Reevy. Thanks so much for stopping by. We'll see you next time.